Man, I just had like a 3.5 hour cry.
While Diddy's current legal team seems determined to prove his innocence, his original legal team wanted nothing to do with him.
Stories were not credible.
There are tons of reasons why this law firm, which is known as a powerhouse in New York City, won't even touch him with a 10-foot pole. Even crazier, this firm used to represent Diddy before he was arrested. So what happened?
You become very clear on what that pattern is, particularly a serial sexual abuser.
Well, Diddy used to have the powerful law firm of Grubman, Shire, Meiselas Sacks on retainer. This is a dominant firm, too, like the type that can get even the worst criminals out of prison. They have a history of representing huge people in the music industry like Elton John, Lil Nas X, Barbra Streisand, U2, Drake, Madonna, and even Lady Gaga, according to the New York Post. So if someone big in the music industry needs some legal help, this is the firm they turn to. And this firm wanted absolutely nothing to do with Diddy. There have been a lot of rumors going around as to why the firm dropped Diddy as a client.
About some specific instances, without disclosing the victim's name, you probably know that depending on the age of the victim, you can file these cases, these individual cases, under Jane Doe or John Doe. An individual who was 9 years old at the time was taken to an audition in New York City with Bad Boy Records. Other boys were there to audition as well. All of them were trying to land a record deal. All of them were minors. This individual was sexually abused, allegedly by Sean Combs and several other people at the studio, in the promise to both his parents and to him himself of getting a record deal. Another instance, another minor, told allegedly by Sean Combs that he would make him a star, but he needed to visit with him in private about it, away from his parents. Once they were in a private area, allegedly Mr. Combs made the victim perform oral sex upon him. Another incident, an individual 15 years old at the time, flown to New York City to attend a party, was drugged and then taken into a private room, allegedly in the presence of Mr. Combs, where this female individual, minor.
It's worth mentioning, too, that law firms don't typically drop clients, especially those who pay them a lot of money. One of the rumors going around is that a certain influential music artist told them to drop him, or they were going to lose her as a client.
These alleged sex tapes as leverage. What evidence do you have to support this narrative?
The tapes.
So you actually have tapes?
I'm not going to do fully comment. Let's just say there's tapes that exist, yeah.
Well, let's ponder around that. There's the investigators in the case that is now filed,
yes,
right, say that they are in possession of tapes. They can actually confirm that there are tapes,
sure,
as well as baby oil, as well as all of the other things that they found.
Yeah.
And so with that, we do know from that perspective that the DA involved in the case that Diddy is now facing.
The federal government.
Yes, the DA and the federal government have tapes.
Attorney General.
And so my question is, there's a claim that Porter kept copies of, and this is in your book,
yes,
that she kept copies of Diddy's alleged tapes as leverage, right?
He just
and
asked the same
in
question.
making that, it would be assumed that you would, or the possession of those tapes, you've seen them, you have them, you know about them. And like I said, what evidence do
just asked the same
you have to support the narrative?
Yes, there are tapes that exist.
The individual who was 9 years old at the time
knows?
was taken to an audition in New York City with Bad Boy Records. Other boys were there to audition as well. All of them were trying to land a record deal. All of them were minors. This individual was sexually abused, allegedly by Sean Combs and several other people at the studio, in the promise to both his parents and to him himself of getting a record deal. Another instance, another minor, told allegedly by Sean Combs that he would make him a star, but he needed to visit with him in private about it, away from his parents. Once they were in a private area, Allegedly, Mr. Combs made the victim perform oral sex upon him. Another incident, an individual 15 years old at the time, flown to New York City to attend a party, was drugged and then taken into a private room, allegedly in the presence of Mr. Combs, where this female individual, minor.
When this rumor dropped, there was a lot of cheering going on over on Reddit. So who was the rumored queen who told the firm to back down? It was none other than Lady Gaga. Allegedly, when she learned that the firm that represents her was going to represent Diddy during the trial, she gave them an ultimatum. Either they dropped Diddy as a client, or she was going to look for representation elsewhere. The firm chose her and got rid of Diddy. Now, this rumor was eventually disproven by the firm itself. It claimed that clients didn't determine who they do business with. That said, people were still celebrating Lady Gaga's possible role in weakening Diddy's defense team. They said that it wouldn't be surprising if Lady Gaga pulled a stunt like that because she can be pretty outspoken when it comes to intimate harm. As someone who has suffered it herself, she donates a lot of her time and money to different organizations that support past victims. Some also thought Lady Gaga did it because of her past collaboration with R. Kelly. R. Kelly was also found guilty of similar charges that Diddy is now facing, but before he was found guilty, Lady Gaga collaborated with him on a few songs. The rumors about him were everywhere though, and yet she still worked with him. She faced a lot of backlash for that, and she was ashamed of herself too. So some fans thought that maybe this was her way of atoning for that. Now, since the firm claimed that this wasn't the case, that Lady Gaga did not tell them to drop Diddy, the question remains, why did they drop Diddy as a client? Typically, law firms don't care too much about whether someone is actually guilty or not. The money is what matters to them. Had the firm finally grown a conscience?
You can look into somebody's eyes and tell if they're a killer. You can look in their eyes and tell if they're a get money person. You can look in their eyes and tell if, they get a little extra wild, you feel me? Oh, bro.
Would you say this is one of the most uncomfortable situations you've been in, or?
No.
Okay.
Because if you know, the celebrity world.
That seems unlikely. According to Peeper, the simple truth might just be that the firm realized that it had no way of winning this case. Law firms may like money, but they also like winning their cases. Losing too much can threaten their business. Clients aren't as likely to hire them if they have a bad track record of winning. This is also a high-profile case. If they lost it, then everyone would know. But why would the firm think they were going to lose? Well, let's just say that Diddy isn't doing a lot to help himself.
So once that was sold, I knew the end was near at that point. Because, just like Gucci Mane, when he went to jail, he passed his artist contracts off to people who can hold them and fulfill the details while he was gone. That's what they do. They pass it off to people who can put it in a shell corporation. Because you can have a corporation and have an anonymous owner. So once I seen Revolt get sold, I knew the end. I knew that was going to be tumultuous.
Let's start with his epic failure of getting bail.
Do you feel like he was moving very careless to where that's why you don't have a bond? That's why, you weren't strategic enough in this whole thing?
Absolutely, because the agreement was that as long as his private jet wasn't in the same state as him, he would be able to stay on the street. The moment that jet came to New York, he got arrested. And then you got to think about it, they got him on audio, calling witnesses, trying to get them to change the story. That's extremely careless.
Yes.
It's almost as if he was used to having someone protecting him.
Diddy's current lawyers, most noticeably Mark Anafilo of AGI Law Group, have tried at least twice to get him bail. The first time he was denied bail wasn't too surprising. However, when Diddy and his team came back with a revised plan for his bail, one that included a lot of money, the judge still wasn't having it. Diddy made some serious moves, too. He declared that he'd forfeit his passport as well as the passports of his children. He even had his mother and children sign the bail, saying that if he failed to post it, then they'd cover the difference. Diddy even planned to sell one of his mansions to cover the cost of bail. With so much money on the line, he was sure that the judge was going to accept it. Yet, the judge denied bail again, Clearly, Diddy wasn't going to buy his way out of prison. That basically set the tone for how the trial is going to move forward. Despite all the power and money that Diddy has, it doesn't have a place in court. He isn't going to be able to buy his way to freedom. Mark is determined to get him out of jail, though, so he can spend time at home and focus on his trial before it's supposed to begin. There are even rumors going around that he's going to try to get bail for Diddy again. Diddy's former law firm clearly saw those failures as huge red flags, but that's not even the worst thing that Diddy has done in jail. He made himself look really suspicious during some phone calls that he had with his son. Diddy also made things worse when he started using the phones of other prisoners. It's like Diddy thought that those phones weren't tracked or something. But everyone heard everything he said to his son and other people. So what did he say? Well, it was pretty incriminating. During a conversation with his son, Diddy started using code words that seemed like they came straight out of a detective game for children. He told his son that he needed to find all the pizza boxes and get rid of them.
I'm gonna need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes. The what? All the boxes left over from the pizza. All the boxes.
Even his son was confused and asked for clarification. Diddy seemed annoyed that his son wasn't getting what he was trying to say, so he confirmed that it was all the pizza boxes he needed to get rid of. His son seemed to get it after that and said that he'd get rid of all the boxes. Diddy also kept asking about people and if anyone was helping. He even specifically said a name Jay, and that could have been a nickname for someone whose name starts with a J, or he could have been alluding to Jay-Z.
Jay reach out yet?
Nah, Pop, he ghosting.
After all, Jay-Z and Diddy have been friends for a long time. With the recent allegations coming out about Jay-Z, it's even more likely that Diddy was talking about him. He seemed disappointed to hear that Jay-Z was ghosting his son, though. A lot of people were suddenly ghosting him. So terrible code words aside, Diddy was basically suggesting that there were things he wanted hidden. Then came the allegations that Diddy was interfering with the witnesses in the case. Apparently, he's been getting the phone numbers of witnesses and harassing them nonstop. Obviously, he's trying to intimidate them and keep them from testifying against him. Judges do not like when that happens, so if those allegations are proven true, then it's very unlikely that Diddy is going to get his bail. The judge might think that he'll go out and physically harm these witnesses to keep them quiet. It's also a really bad look for Diddy. Why would he harass these witnesses if he didn't have anything to hide? What is it that he wants them to keep quiet about? Finally, some of Diddy's items were reportedly confiscated during a prison search. He apparently didn't realize that the guards could just come into his cell and take his things. One of the things that the guards allegedly found was a semi-confession on a piece of paper that he had written. If that's true, then that could definitely be really harmful to his case. So clearly, Diddy isn't doing anything to help himself look innocent in his case. His former law firm probably saw that there were too many red flags in the case and didn't think it was something they could win. So they dropped him and basically said that they don't represent clients with the types of charges that Diddy has. That's just a theory, though. So what do you guys think? Was it the charges or the fact that the firm didn't think they could win? Do you think his current lawyers will jump ship too when they realize that Diddy may not win? Let me know what you think in the comments below.